here recently that's getting a lot of support, and that is to allow the drug companies to conspire among each other, collude, and come up with a product that is essential, I think, to American democracy, and that is a Viagra to stiffen the backbones of the Democrats in Washington, D.C., so they might actually stand up for the constituent that puts them in there. Meanwhile, the Republicans have decided to throw out their hardcore right-wingers and replace them with hardcore Palinista kooks. Kill Social Security, they cry. Support BP. Stop unemployment benefits. Stop picking on Wall Street. Keep government out of Medicare. They're as confused as goats on AstroTurf. There's a singer, a great musician in Austin, part of a group called the Flatlanders, but he's got his own music too. That's Joe Ely, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, and Butch Hancock. Butch Hancock was on my radio show years ago, and he told about growing up out in Lubbock. All of the Flatlanders, that's where they come from, out in Lubbock, flat land. And Hancock said that it was rough growing up because it was all Church of Christ country out there. And he said the Church of Christ always taught them that sex was the nastiest, filthiest thing on earth, and you should save it for someone you love. So they're confused. Take Glenn Beck, please. There he is at Lincoln Memorial today, claiming to be the second coming of Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know if he did it in blackface. Did anybody notice? Bunch of old, overweight, pasty white guys. Same people who say that putting an Islam facility near the 9/11, the World Trade Center, is disrespectful, are gathering with Glenn Beck at the Lincoln Memorial on Martin Luther King Day. I have a nightmare. Beck is a big man on Fox, but if you rendered the BS out of him, he would fit in a matchbox, I can tell you that. So here we are. My friend Willie Nelson hurt his thumb, right thumb. That's kind of bad on a guitar picker. So he went to a doctor, and the doctor said, "Well, Will, this is gonna cause some pain." And Will said, "Now wait, hold it right there." He said, "Now is this squint your eye pain, grit your teeth pain, or wet your pants pain?" There's a difference. We are in wet your pants pain time in our country. But the good news is the people are revolted, in the very best sense of that term. I have to let that lay out there. All across this country, and that's the theme of my cohort and co-conspirator and co-author Susan DeMarco. We wrote this last book, Swim Against the Current, together. That's the theme of our book, that all across America, unbeknownst to the majority of people, because it's not reported, mostly by the media. It's not talked about by the politicians, but all across this country, ordinary people are defying the corporate order. They're living their progressive values and doing well by doing good in business, in politics, in the media, in healthcare, in banking. My friend John Gould, he's been a long-time pioneer in the environmental, in the organic movement. And John Gould says, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be good folks like you, because we tell about 55-something stories in that book, but there are 55 stories in this room, right here, 55 stories in any zip code in America. This is not odd. This is now mainstream. Not only can we do it, you are doing it. I'll give you just one quick example. It was from a guy named Chris Johnson in Austin, Texas, and he's a pharmacist. And Chris was working at one of these chain store pharmacies and doing very well. He was climbing that corporate ladder. He was drawing down six figures. He was on his way up. But he said, it just makes me sick to my stomach. And what made him sick was that he noticed more and more people coming up and they'd present their prescription. And he would fill them and present the pills, but they'd walk away without taking the pills because they could not afford them. And he knew that there were what he called obscene profits built into that bottle of pills. And so it was just grinding on him. And so finally he got sick enough of it that he spun out and created his own drugstore, his own pharmacy. Again, it's not a big one, not much bigger than this bookstore right here. You can't buy a chainsaw in Chris's pharmacy. You buy pills, that's what you buy. But not a big box thing. But Chris, by focusing on people who had no insurance and by focusing on generic drugs, is able to sell a bottle of pills that costs $69 a month at that chain store for $16 at his store and make a profit.